Welcome to this evening's meeting of the Westerville City Schools Board of Education. We're delighted to have all of you this evening. The agenda will be displayed on the screens in the front of the room for you to follow along. There will be two opportunities this evening to address the board. The first being agenda item 6.1. The first set of public comments is relative to agenda items 7.1 through 11.2. Please state the agenda items you are referencing at the beginning of your comments. The second opportunity is agenda item 12.1. There is a sign-up sheet located in the table of the back of the room, and each speaker will have 5 minutes to address the board, and a timer will be shown on the screen. And with that, Ms. Marshall, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Bell?
Here.
Mrs. Meyer?
Here.
Dr. Nesterbaker?
Here.
Mrs. Altman?
Here.
Mrs. Davidson?
Here. Will you please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Up first this evening are district highlights and recognitions, which is always the best part of the evening. And I would like to hand it over to Dr. Nesterbaker and Mr. Von Bell.
This is indeed the best part of the evening. Please stay afterward. I'm sure you'd find the rest of it riveting. Our first award this evening, our recognition this evening, is the Kindness Award. And to present this very well-deserved award, I'd like to call Mayor Diane Conley up and ask her to describe, and Suzanne Kyle is coming forward. We have a whole delegation from neighbor to neighbor, which is great. So come on up and talk about the award and the awardee.
Well, first of all, I'll introduce Brian Wagner, and he's one of the founders of Neighbor to Neighbor. And Brian, I'll let you talk a little bit about Neighbor to Neighbor. We didn't practice, so.
Hi, Chair, members of the board, Mr. Superintendent. We represent Westerville Neighbor to Neighbor, and Neighbor to Neighbor is a kindness initiative to recognize all the great things happening in the community every day. Yet, because of our Midwestern culture, we're humble, we don't like to shine a spotlight on what we do. And that's what Neighbor to Neighbor is about, to shine a spotlight on all the acts of kindness in the community. And one of the initiatives we like to do is recognize kindness heroes, and Suzanne has some additional information about that.
Each month at our meetings, we have an opportunity to nominate someone we feel is deserving. So I wanted to take this opportunity to recognize someone who clearly has a heart for helping others, Von Bell. Von Bell. I was first introduced to Von many years ago as a member of the Community Engagement Committee. That's been a while, hasn't it?
That's been a few years.
And it quickly became clear that he had an unwavering commitment to kindness and serving our community. Since then, he has served in many capacities, and throughout them all, he continues to draw out the best in people, instilling them with a belief in the better, greater good. Von's civic and social involvement includes serving as a member of the Westerville City Schools Board of Education, president of the Westerville Area Ministerial Association, and a member of the Board of Directors for Leadership Westerville. He also serves as a member of the Westerville Diversity Advisory Committee. He has served as the chair of the Leadership Westerville Martin Luther King Jr. Legacy Project and was instrumental in rejuvenating the Westerville African American Parent Association, providing notable support to our students and families of color. People who work closely with him have shared that his leadership is always inclusive of others, always focused on building community, always humble, intelligent, and thoughtful. He is a man of integrity, a man of kindness, and a man who believes in and models the power of good.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Oh, we have cake for you. Yeah. Well, thank you. Now that makes it all worth it. A good cake.
That's right. Buckwheat cake, huh?
Yes. Wow. I guess am I supposed to say something? I don't know what it is about Westerville City Council, these new Westerville City Council members surprising me. I don't know what to say. So this, I guess, is a Kodak moment because those times don't happen often. I was just breathing a sigh of relief because I was like, okay, I don't have to pronounce all these names that are on the list now, so I got it really easy. First, let me just, I want to thank the Neighbor to Neighbor team for this recognition and for all of the truly great work that you do throughout our community. You really are a blessing to us as a community. I have a tremendous amount of love, respect, and admiration for all of the men, women, boys, and girls that are a part of this community. And so for me, that's kind of what drives me to be a community servant. I believe that kindness is the bridge across all of those things that divide us and separate us. And so in moments like these, where there's so much divisiveness and division among our community, this is a wonderful opportunity for us to shift the conversation and to change the narrative to something positive, and that is kindness. Kindness throughout our community, I believe, is built on a foundation of love, and that's what will lead us to becoming the beloved community. And so kindness is at the heart of all that we do here in Westerville City Schools. That's why we truly believe that this is a place, like the sign says, where you belong. So this is a place for everyone to belong. Thank you.
Now, would the rest of the board like to join us in shaking hands with our next recognees?
Now I'm all off kilter now. At this time, I'd like to call up the Civitan president, Tom Daugherty, who will present the 2022 Civitan Award.
Good evening. It's nice to see you again this year. I don't have a mask on, so thanks for taking a few minutes to allow us to do this again. We really appreciate it. Again, I'm Tom Daugherty. I'm the president of the Westerville Area Civitan Club. We represent the Westerville Area Civitan, or Westerville area. Our club has about 30 members at the moment, but we are part of an international organization whose goal is to find ways to help our communities. Part of our mission statement says our clubs are dedicated to serving individual and community needs with an emphasis on helping people with developmental disabilities. In support of that goal, we organized spring dances, Easter egg hunts, and other events, especially for those with such disabilities. In 2018, thanks to Donna Dutray, one of our members, we initiated the Special Education Professional Award, and that's a mouthful, to honor those who work with children with special needs. Ms. Glass, our partner, hi Ms. Glass, solicited nominations from within the district. This is an excerpt from the nomination letter about that person who was selected this year. This individual demonstrates consistent dedication to the many students she has worked with who have both academic and behavioral needs. She frequently makes home visits and supports the families of her students who have various struggles or other resource deficits. Her tough love and tender heart make her a favorite among her students. In addition, she volunteers for many tasks outside her role as a special education teacher. She helps with a variety of duties, serves as the staff social committee chair, mentors new teachers, and serves as a WEA representative. She is certainly deserving of this recognition due to her dedication and commitment to her students and the school community. There were many more glowing words in the nomination, but that pretty much sums it up. We announced on May 5th in her classroom, we paid a visit there at Wilder Elementary School, that the recipient of our Special Education Professional Award this year is Miss Michelle Burtis. Hi, Michelle. Come on up. At that time, we presented a nice big plaque to her, and more importantly, a big candy bouquet. Yes. That she and the children enjoyed, I'm sure. And you could tell when you visited her classroom that her children really loved her, and that she is full of love and warmth for the kids. Mrs. Burtis will also be recognized at a Westerville City Council meeting on May 17th. At this time, we'll present her with a plaque and a small gift, as well as the new entry on the district plaque which displays past and future recipients. You're going to be up there forever. Huh? What do you think of that? We would like to thank Ms. Glass for all of her help in this process as well. It's a partnership. And thanks to everyone who took the time to submit nominations. And we're looking forward to seeing you next year. And with that, would you like to say anything? Or all right.
Just thank
I don't
you,
want to
that's
embarrass
all.
you. You're welcome.
Let's give Michelle one more round of applause. Next on the agenda, we will be recognizing our Ohio PTA Reflections State winners. And we have a long history of participating in the Reflections contest. It's a great way for our kids to get engaged. We have such wonderful artistic talent here in this district. And tonight, we get the opportunity to hear from Megan Vennemeyer about the Reflections contest, Reflections program, and also to say congratulations to a number of really remarkable young people. Megan?
Good evening. My name is Megan Vennemeyer, and I am one half of your Westerville Parent Council District Reflections co-chairs. My other half, Amy Adams, was unable to make it tonight, but I could not do this job without her. We would first like to thank Dr. Kellogg and the Board of Education for inviting our Reflections State winners to be recognized tonight and for supporting this wonderful program that showcases talents across the board in the arts. We would also like to recognize all of the fantastic Reflections School chairs for their hard work and dedication, ensuring that art pieces qualify, forms are filled out correctly, and making sure each school has access to this program. Here's a little information about Reflections. 2022 marks the 53rd year of the special PTA program. Reflections has come a long way since its humble beginnings in the state of Colorado back in 1969. It has grown to be a nationally acclaimed student recognition program which encourages students to submit works of art in 6 different categories. Students of all grades and abilities may participate and explore the arts based on a chosen theme. This year's theme was I Will Change the World By. And when I say all students, I mean all students. This is a program that every child, regardless of ability, regardless of, it's just completely inclusive and I love it. After viewing all of this year's amazing entries, Amy and I were blown away by the creativity our Westerville students possess and their outstanding job relating this year's theme with each of their specific talents. We had 8 schools from the district participate in the program. From those 8 schools, 55 entries advanced to the district level and 43 placed. All first place winners at the districts advanced to state, and we had 10 entries that placed, with 2 of those earning awards of excellence, moving them on to the national competition. So as I read the awards, just to understand the categories, Award of Excellence is first place, Award of Outstanding Achievement is second, Award of Merit is third, and then we have honorable mention. So time to announce the winners, recognize them. We're gonna first start with Mira, because she has to leave first. But in the literature category for the middle school division, Mira Shamalan receives honorable mention from Heritage Middle School. Come on up, Mira. Great job. In the dance choreography division, we have Alice Schott for intermediate, honorable mention Mark Twain Elementary. Great job, Alice. Can you go shake their hand? Also in the dance choreography section, not able to be here tonight, but we have for middle school, Emma Combs, an Award of Merit for Walnut Springs. Whoop. Under the film production category, we have, once again, in the intermediate division, Alice Schott for Outstanding Achievement at Mark Twain. We have some families here tonight who are fantastic Reflections kiddos, and they participate year after year and have really made this program great. The next category we have is music composition. Not able to be here tonight for the intermediate division was Jordan Smith, who received an award of excellence from Emerson Elementary. Up next for music composition in the middle school division, we have Anna McCracken for award of outstanding achievement from Walnut Springs Middle School. In the photography division for primary, we have Noah Combs, honorable mention from McVeigh Elementary. Also in photography, in the intermediate division, I'm not sure if Sophia is here, but Sophia Johnson, award of outstanding achievement from Mark Twain. Now we have the special artist category, and in film production, we have Ethan Oakes for award of excellence from Walnut Springs Middle School. Good job, Ethan.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do you want to shake their hands?
Yes.
Okay. Unfortunately, allergies have gotten the best of him tonight, but Evan Vogel, also in special artist under photography, received award of outstanding achievement from Alcott Elementary.
I asked Megan if she would come forward so that she could shake hands too, so we could tell you how much we appreciate you as well. So as Megan shakes hand, thank you to Megan, and congratulations to the award winners.
Yes, yes. Outstanding.
Okay, 4.1, may I have a motion to approve the minutes of the regular Board of Education meeting held on Monday, April 25th, 2022, and the special Board of Education session held on Thursday, April 28th, 2022, as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or suggestions? Hearing none?
Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Mrs. Meyer,
Yes.
Dr. Nestor Baker,
Yes.
Mrs. Altman,
Yes.
Mrs. Davidson.
Yes. Up next, we have reports, and I'd like to welcome Ann Baldwin, 5.1, our Global Scholars presentation to the podium.
Good evening, President Davidson, members of the board, Dr. Kellogg, Ms. Marshall. I am excited to have a team here of Global Scholars advisors and students from two of our high schools, Westerville North and Westerville Central, to share with you about this exciting experiential program that our students have participated in for 4 years now. And this could be best heard from them. So I'd like to invite Don Ogle, who is our advisor at Westerville Central, and Brandon Allen, who's our advisor at Westerville North, to share with you a little bit about the program. And we have 2 graduating seniors that will also share more about their Take Action projects.
Hi, thank you for having me. My name is Brandon Allen. I'm a social studies teacher at Westerville North, and I'm also the advisor for Global Scholars. I've been doing it for quite a while now. Global Scholars is a program that is run through the Columbus Council on World Affairs, and the focus is creating cultural competency in young people. They originally set out to train business leaders on how to better interact with global workforces, and they thought, hey, it'd be a really good idea if we taught young people how to do this too, and got them ahead of the curve. And so they created the Global Scholars Diploma Program. And it is a 3-year program where students are exposed to cultures from around the world, people from around the world, as well as issues and struggles facing those people around the world. And each level is meant to build their understanding, and it finally culminates in what our awesome seniors are going to talk about in a minute. The first year is just meant to get their feet wet. It's just students going in and kind of exposing themselves to culture, getting to talk to people from around the world. They get to go to events. We, in the past, before COVID, got to go to the Nestle Research and Development Center. We've been to the Honda Center out in Marysville and spoken to business leaders from around Central Ohio who have international connections, international business acumen, and got a chance to talk to our young people and to show them what the world is like out there and how to interact with people beyond just our Westerville bubble. And that's just getting them in the door. And Mr. Ogle is going to talk about levels 2 and 3.
Thanks, Brandon. Hello, Don Ogle, Westerville Central, social studies as well, and I've been doing this for about the same time as Brandon. It actually began, I think, 1 year before we got started. What is fantastic, the kids that first year, as Brandon was saying, they get their feet wet, just sort of getting a touch of what it's like to have that multicultural experience and learn about some of the world issues. Level 2, now they're actually doing some courses where they're learning on their own, taking the time to do this about specific problems or issues that are going on in the world, specific groups of people from around the world, and more importantly, getting themselves ready for their 3rd year, their culminating project. So they're going to take one issue that is important to them, whether that is global climate change, or it is hunger, or it is what happens when we have war and we have refugees. And then they're going to try to put together some sort of an action plan that takes this global issue, and then how can they, as a person here in Westerville, Ohio, try to solve this. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to, we have Helen Wang from Central, and Sophie and Wrenchler, who is from North, and they're going to tell you about their projects. And your
Hi there, guys. My name's Sophie Wrenchler. I'm a recent graduate of the Global Scholars Diploma Program, and I'm thrilled to be here today to talk to you guys about the endeavor that I was taken on with Global Scholars. So I am going to talk a little bit about my plans for fall and why this issue meant so much to me. I am the editor for the school broadcast section at Westerville North, and I'm passionate about all things broadcast, podcast. I'm all into that multimedia journalism world, and it's easy to get sucked in, that's for sure. So I'm in love with it. And I am going to the Missouri School of Journalism this fall for broadcast journalism, and I'm going to be minoring in physics and Spanish to be an aeronautical news reporter. It's a mouthful, but it's a really important title, and it's a really, really important job for sure. So when I chose my project, I decided that it was going to be something that was really meaningful to me. It was going to be something that kind of made me angry, something that made me passionate, and something that I really wanted to build off of with what I currently do. So I have a podcast on Spotify. It's titled The Midwest Endeavor. It's about, moving out of Ohio, wanting to see something different, set my sights on something a little bit more, exciting, but I'm moving from cornfield to cornfield, so it's nothing really too intense. But so I'm going to Missouri, obviously, and I decided what better way to prepare myself for this 4 years of education than to kind of have this token that I can look back on with, the podcast that I'm going to be doing, or I have completed with my guest speakers. So with that being said, all 4 episodes of the podcast that I built off of on Spotify were, the entire encompassing theme is gender inequality in the journalism industry. And what made me kind of angry about it too is realizing that I could step into any newsroom, institution, company, and because I'm a Peruvian woman, I will not receive the same level of respect as someone that may not be that same ethnicity as me or gender as me. And I knew that I had to fight for something larger than myself and seize some advice from professionals, local and from across the globe. I spoke to women from Arizona, Missouri, obviously, so second hometown. Spoke to people local in Columbus, Ohio, and I learned a lot from these women. So I'm not going to go on too much about the speakers themselves because I love all of them and I would go on for ages, but they are professors of journalism at their respective universities, and I learned so much in terms of seizing your connections early on. And I think that really goes into play with one of my speakers because I met her at a Westerville Chamber meeting. Literally, fell in love with, all that she was about on first sight. And I think what I liked the most about this project is that it kind of taught you what hard work is really like. I've taken so many AP classes in my time at Westerville North, and I'm telling you right now, it is nothing that compares to the level of work and determination that I put into this Spotify podcast of 4 episodes ranging from 20 to 30 minutes, sitting in that Westerville Public Library, fiending away at all these audio clips and whatnot. And it really taught me what it's like to, be in that professional world, and not just about, the industry of journalism, but what it really is like to be in a business and collaborate with people. So I definitely think I learned a lot from it, and I feel really good about next 4 years at Missouri. So that's all I got to say for you guys, of course. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Helen Wei. I am also a recent graduate of the Global Scholars Program. My Take Action project focused on the global issue of education. With the recent COVID-19 pandemic, I'm sure you guys all heard of it, a lot of impoverished kids weren't able to get the same education as their peers were because they didn't have access to technology, to Wi-Fi, and we were virtual. So this project actually was the product of a suggestion from my mom, actually. I was like, Mom, what do you think I should do? I don't know what I'm doing. She's like, just do a donation drive. It'll be easy. Spoiler alert, it was not. And so what happened from that idea was I decided to do a donation drive for technology. Kids could take their used electronics that they weren't using anymore, instead of leaving them at home collecting dust or throwing them away. They could bring them to school, and I worked with a local organization called Neighborhood Bridges, and I would collect these electronics, pass them over to them, and they would distribute it to local families. I was able to collect 4 laptops, 1 phone, and 1 tablet, and I was able to help 3 families in the local Central Ohio region. I think this project taught me a lot about, hard work, as Sophia said, because doing this entire donation drive was really hard, actually. I had to think about logistics, how am I going to get these electronics from the school, keep them safe, and then get them from the school, Neighborhood Bridges, to a family. I had to think about advertising. I'd never done graphic design in my life, you know? I had to suddenly, I was asking my cousin, and I was like, how do you do this thing? I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I had to push through, had to make it work, and taught me a lot about communicating. I'm actually pretty nervous up here, you know? I'm an introvert usually. I'm pretty shy, and so I had to learn about, you know, taking that first step, building that connection. I had to reach out to Neighborhood Bridges. I talked with their founder, with their CEO. I never talked with the CEO in my life before. And I had to reach out to the principal. You know, I'm a good student. I don't get called into the principal's office very often. And suddenly I had to talk face to face with him right there and get approval for this project. And so I'm really grateful for this project, for teaching me, you know, just getting it done, just push through, communicate. It doesn't have to be perfect, you know, just make that connection. Thank you.
So recently, our seniors were recognized at a Global Scholars Diploma Awards ceremony, and it was over at Otterbein. It was really exciting to see our students. All of our seniors presented their action projects, and our students in years 1 and 2 were able to actually go around and speak to those students, learn about their projects, and get ideas for theirs. So really excited about the program. We have about 133 students that are signing up for next year, and we're excited to bring back the in-person events too for our students. With that, we'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
I don't have any questions, but I have a comment. The passion that you both spoke with about the subject and just your curiosity in the subject gives me hope. I really appreciate it. I love to, you could tell you both loved this project or these 3 years and learning all of this, and I really appreciate you coming and sharing. Thank you.
I have a question. Yeah, thank you for your passion. I'm curious, just for people that may be hearing this, like, where would they go to find out how to sign up for the Global Scholars program?
So what we typically do is we go to our freshman classes and try to recruit for the sophomore year. It's a 3-year program, and we've been running it 10, 11, 12. Recently, we have created a course at the middle school, Global Game Changers, which we're changing the name because the kids were confused about, they thought they were going to play games. But the idea is that if they're introduced to global issues and their place in the world, and then get them interested, and then we can try to recruit from those kids and see if we can build on that. So that's what we've been doing. And we use our former students to go around and try to recruit, and hopefully they do a good job of doing that. Does that help?
Yeah, thank you, and good luck to you both.
So Helen and Sophia, why did you decide to take part in the program?
My thought process when signing up for this was a lot more superficial. When they came to my room and talked about it, they were like, scholarship money for college. And I was like, $sign, I'm in, you know? And so that's how it started. And then as I learned more, I was like, I'm invested in this now. I spent so much time listening to these conferences. The 3rd year though, I was like, Mom, do I really, really want to do this? Am I really sure that I really want to spend the time and build this project? And she was like, just do it, Helen. You got this. And I was like, if you're sure. So, yeah, that's how it happened.
All right, and then for me, I was recruited, I guess, by a student that I ran track and cross country with, and she came into one of my classes, and she was like, this is a great opportunity for colleges to seek you out and everything, and I wasn't even really, college wasn't really on my mind at that point. I was just kind of looking for like clubs and organizations to get involved in as I was a freshman, and I think the only clubs that I was involved in were like my sport. So I was trying to branch out, and I think I didn't really know that it was going to be kind of like an unpaid internship that you're kind of like doing for yourself, like you're cultivating it yourself. But I think that's the beauty of it. And I guess like as the years went on, we went like on really fun field trips. And a lot of my friends were also involved in the program too, because I'm pretty sure they try and like pick out people that are, I guess, like diversely represent the school as well. So you're kind of stuck with a bunch of different people that, you know, you may not know, and a lot of your friends and your buddies too. So it's just like a melting pot of people that you get to hang around with for a whole day at a field trip at Franklin University or any other little gathering that they put together. And I think that the first major field trip that we did go on was the one at Franklin University. We spoke with this guy that was talking about like the protests in Hong Kong, and like there were so many really important topics that we got to touch on just speaking with these people that, you know, you didn't even know. And I think building those connections too and realizing like, hey, this happens globally, and fulfilling and kind of trying to like seize that global education too was like attractive to me, because we're confined in our bubble of Westerville, as someone said prior. So I think it really is important to get that global education, and that's why I like it so much, for sure.
Last question from me. How does signing up for the Global Studies program affect a student's scheduling?
So it's actually completely co-curricular. There's nothing in your schedule that is added on. However, we've worked over the years with all the different pieces from the program to integrate them into a lot of different teachers' classroom lessons and curriculum. I know that I personally teach sophomore modern world history, so for years the sophomores were the first level of Global Scholars. So it was easy for me to use kind of some of the ideas from the Columbus Council to make projects for my own class. And so I had students who were essentially double dipping a little bit, doing something for Global Scholars, but also doing something for my class. They do have the opportunity to earn a half a credit flex as an elective if they complete all 3 levels by the end. That's one of the carrots at the end, as well as earning a seal on their diploma, as well as some pretty snazzy cords to wear at graduation. So.
I just want to say I really appreciate you coming here. I've sort of wanted to get a deeper understanding of the program, kind of knowing about it superficially. So Helen and Sophia, thanks for sharing. And for all of you who make it happen, thank you too. It's really important for our kids, and you know, as we've heard. So just really appreciate the work that you do.
Thank you so much. Okay, moving on in the agenda. Public comments, we do not have any public comments. Financials, we do not have any financials tonight, but that takes us to personnel consent agenda. Is it okay if we take this as one? May I have a motion for 8.1 through 8.14 personnel consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
Welcome, Mr. Reeves.
Thank you. Thank you, and good evening, President Davidson, members of the board, Dr. Kellogg, and Mrs. Marshall. I would like to present to you for your consideration tonight's personnel consent agenda. And as I look, you know, my agent told me tonight's show was sold out, so. The items in tonight's agenda mostly represent our regular action items with regard to resignations, hiring, changes of assignment, and contract status changes. There are, however, a few items to be noted in tonight's agenda. We are asking the board to consider and approve the following. There are 4 licensed and 5 non-substitute classified resignations before the board this evening, along with 1 amended resignation. Of those resignations, I'd like to thank our Education Equity Coordinator, Cynthia DeVries. Cynthia has simply transformed the work of our district immeasurably to ensure that all of our students have equal access to what we provide here in Westerville. She developed programs like Model for our 8th grade girls, who were mentored by many women in our community, as President Davidson knows. She's helped facilitate with our high school principals our Lead Higher initiative, which has resulted in a dramatic increase of our low income and students of color accessing our AP and IB coursework. She developed book clubs, brought diverse authors into our district, worked with our curriculum department to examine the books that our children have in front of them, and along with Dr. Kellogg, developed our district equity team to ensure equity in all aspects of our district. So I could go on and on about the impact that Cynthia's had, and she will surely be missed in our district. We welcome to our district 3 non-substitute classified and 5 licensed positions, and I'm certainly very interested and excited about this license agenda because included in this group is a young man that I recruited from one of my trips. This is my first kid that I brought into our district from a trip, and I made sure that I went out and I drug half the staff to meet him when he came in. We have several changes of assignments for the board to consider and several supplemental positions which round out pretty much the staffing for our summer intervention programs. There's a memorandum of understanding for the board to consider with OAPC 138, which will allow our food service employees to support the custodial department in times of shortages. There is also a memorandum of agreement with WEA to have a canine, companion canine, one was K-9 and the other K9, present to benefit our students. I have met Twinkles, who is a beautiful golden lab, and she made me feel so much better after I met her. Our ability to use Twinkle was made possible by a grant from the Westerville Education Challenge. Lastly, we have 3 retirements for the board to consider this evening. Jean Schultz will be retiring from her position with the Transportation Department with 39 years of service to the district. And 39 years in transportation, that's back when they still asked you if you wanted leaded or regular, or unleaded and regular. Amy Lonis will be retiring from her position as a nurse with 23 years of service to the district, and Kim Wickham is retiring as an instructional coach and has also been a wonderful teacher in her 36 years of service to the district. And all told, collectively, these 3 have 98 years of service to the district, which takes us all the way back to the year 1924. And in that year, iconic Notre Dame football coach Newt Rockne won his first national championship. And you'll remember, perhaps Newt Rockne was made famous for the saying, "Win one for the Gipper." German brothers Adolf and Rudolf Dassler went into the shoe company together, but over time they grew to hate each other. Adolf, nicknamed Addy, changed the name of the company to Adidas, and his brother started a rival company called Puma. Silent Calvin Coolidge won the presidential election, and through the Indian Citizenship Act, Native Americans finally became recognized as citizens of the United States of America. 2 Army planes completed the first round-the-world flight. 4 planes started, but thankfully no one was injured. They took off from Seattle, Washington, going that way, and 175 days later came back to Seattle this way. Now, I'm not sure if the extended layover in Hawaii contributed to the delay in the length of the trip. And a little closer to home in Westerville, a grand building was built at a cost of $165,000 over the course of 1922 and 1923. And in 1924 saw a full house as they opened as Westerville Junior Senior High School until 1960. And that school today we call Hanby Elementary. If there are any questions from the board, I'd be happy to take them.
Hearing none, thank you so much.
Mrs. Meyer,
Yes.
Mrs. Altman,
Yes.
Mr. Bell,
Yes.
Dr. Nesterbaker,
Yes.
Mrs. Davidson.
Yes. Old business, 9.1, final reading for policy 5772, weapons. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments here? Hearing none?
Dr. Nesterbaker,
Yes.
Mr. Bell,
Yes.
Mrs. Meyer,
Yes.
Mrs. Altman,
Yes.
Mrs. Davidson.
Yes. 9.2, final reading for policy 7217, weapons. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments here? Hearing none?
Mr. Bell,
Yes.
Mrs. Meyer,
Yes.
Dr. Nesterbaker,
Yes.
Mrs. Altman,
Yes.
Mrs. Davidson.
Yes. And new business tonight, I'd like to welcome Mr. Dorn to the podium, and he's going to talk to us about 10.1, first reading policy, staff, dress and grooming, and it looks like 10.2, 10.3, and 10.4. Okay, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, President Davidson, Vice President Altman, members of the board, Dr. Kellogg, and Ms. Marshall. I would like to present to you these 4 policies as a package this evening, as they all include similar updated language related to staff and grooming. Policy 5511 applies to students and is a revision. Policy 1616 is for administrators and is new, as it has been previously overlooked in our policies. Policies 3216 for professional staff and 4216 for classified staff are also both revisions. The language that has been added is optional language because there is no requirement to include such language in the policy or administrative guideline. However, implementation of such measures as represented by the language is required in order to comply with Title IX and Title VII. The language has been added here so that everyone understands what is required for compliance. Thus, it is being recommended that the board approve these 3 revised and 1 new policy as presented.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none. Thank you. 10.5, first reading policy 5516, student hazing, and I'd like to welcome Dr. Hopkins.
Thank you, President Davidson, members of the board, Dr. Kellogg and Ms. Marshall. I'd like to present policy 5516, or at least the revision for that, for its first reading. This policy is recommended for revision because of some of the updates to the language dealing with definitions, coverage, and notification and posting requirements. We'd like to note that although the updates to legislation that necessitated the updates to the policy primarily do deal with hazing at the higher education level, we still believe that there are some implications in the K-12 world, and that's why we're recommending these revisions to be adopted to maintain accurate policies in our district. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. I just had a question about, I know there's this audit happening with the, extracurriculars, and I'm just wondering if any of this, if any of those recommendations came back, if it needs to be reflected in here too. I don't know.
The first level of review included all our board policies, so that process is concluded. They're in the process now of interviewing coaches and ADs, and so all that will be included in. So we started with a look at the paper, which would include any relevant policies having to do with hazing, and then we'll have the rest of the review from sometime this spring.
Okay. So this matches.
This particular piece is less relevant to the athletic piece because it's dress code during the day. I'm sorry, the student hazing piece does, but yeah. So that policy was included in the policies we gave the consultant to look at.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Hearing none. Thank you. 10.6, first reading policy 8500. Food services, and I'd like to welcome Carrie Dennis.
Good evening, President Davidson, members of the board, Dr. Kellogg and Ms. Marshall. Food service policy 8500 has been brought to you this evening for a first reading with housekeeping changes that include allowing for flexibility in the requirement for medical certification for students without disabilities to receive a substitution for milk, and that is in the USDA guidelines. There are also changes in the policy for the title of the person responsible for obtaining necessary food safety inspections and completing periodic reviews of the food service accounts. I'd be happy to answer any questions that the board might have.
Hearing none. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Recommended action, standing business. 11.1, overnight and out-of-state field trips. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second. And Ann Baldwin is back with us. Welcome again.
Good evening. This is a trip, part of our Westerville Worldwide programming, and is World War II and the Western Front that will be taking place in June. So we'll have a number of high school students visiting England, France, Belgium, Germany, Austria. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Hearing none.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Mrs. Altman?
Yes.
Mrs. Meyer?
Yes.
Dr. Nestor Baker?
Yes.
Mrs. Davidson?
Yes. 11.2, resolution approving the 2022 capital improvements for bid packages 1, 2, and 3. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
And welcome, Mr. Dorn.
Thank you again. The scope of work for bid package 1 is located on the second floor of the Early Learning Center. The work includes replacing the modular partition walls with full-height walls to meet privacy requirements of 9 administrators. The work also includes adding a full-height wall to enclose one conference room that is currently open to a hallway right now. The work for bid package 2 is located at Longfellow Elementary School and involves the repurposing of the kindergarten classrooms to special education classrooms and office space for traveling special education and gifted education teachers. Bid package 3 is for replacement of the casework and science classrooms, classroom 248 at North High School. The bids were solicited in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code on April 11th. We received 3 bids, with 1 bid being returned unopened due to not being delivered on time. The bids were publicly read on April 26th. The lowest responsible bid for bid package 1 was submitted by Ultimax Incorporated in the amount of $214,125. The lowest responsible bid for bid packages 2 and 3 was submitted by Black Bronco Construction in the amount of $155,000. The total for bids 1, 2, and 3 is $369,125, including all alternates. This is approximately $106,000, or 22% under the design team's estimate. On the bid tab, you will note that alternate 2.1 is for prevailing wages. For the work at Longfellow Elementary School, prevailing wage rates are a requirement to use government funding for that particular project. The substantial completion date for the work at Longfellow and Westerville North is scheduled for August 1st. The substantial completion date for the work at the Early Learning Center is scheduled for September 1st. It is being recommended that the board accept Ultimax's bid for bid package 1 and accept Black Bronco's bid for bid packages 2 and 3 as presented.
Any questions or comments here?
Just one. Longfellow, as we look at renovating the spaces, turning classrooms into office space on the second floor, we've been pretty careful in the past about retaining the components of the existing building. Is that still our plan?
Yes.
Thank you.
It'll be just modular furniture that can come and go back out.
Thank you.
And related to that, could you just walk through or remind us all, how there's a relationship, I think, between what's happening here at Early Learning Center and some of the Longfellow pieces, like why the walls now and how are maybe things shifting around?
Certainly. Well, one of the things, I don't know how far back to go, but through realignment, we opened up classroom spaces and buildings. We are now able to offer more all-day kindergarten at home schools, a much broader opportunity for students in Westerville, which means that we no longer need that classroom space at Longfellow. So what we're doing then here with the privacy issues is that we've had over the last several years, as we've become introduced to Google Meet, Zoom meetings, and those types of things, we realize that we have forced some of our folks into having conversations in cubicles that are better kept private. And so this will allow us to move our special education coordinators into private spaces so that they can continue to work with their meetings.
Great, thank you for walking through that.
Okay, thank you so much. Hearing none.
Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Dr. Nesterbaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Meyer?
Yes.
Mrs. Altman?
Yes.
Mrs. Davidson?
Yes. We do not have any public comments, which takes us to board comments. And who would like to go first? Anybody?
No, I'll start. First, I'd start with a couple of acknowledgements. The month of May has been designated as Asian American Pacific Islander Month, and so we want to take the month of May to celebrate the many meaningful contributions throughout the history of our nation that Asian Americans have contributed to making America truly the land of the free and the home of the brave. I would also like to congratulate the Ohio Alliance of Black School Educators and President Maceo for another successful conference this past week or last weekend. Had an opportunity to go and be a part of the banquet with them to represent Westerville. And so want to congratulate them on another successful conference. I want to truly thank the members of Neighbor to Neighbor for the recognition this evening. They succeeded. They really did take me by surprise. So I want to just thank them for a lot of the great work that they're doing in our community to help us focus on kindness. Also, would like to once again thank our Global Scholar students that were here, Helen and Sophia. They are two wonderful, shining examples of all of the hard work that goes into making our Global Scholars program truly a wonderful educational opportunity for parents and for students in our system. Along with that, as we highlight Global Scholars, I'd also like to just highlight the great work that's being done in our other pathways as well. Our medical and health pathway, our engineering pathway, and our business logistics pathways. Along with Global Scholars, our IB program, AP opportunities, College Credit Plus opportunities. This is just a wonderful example to kind of highlight all of the many different educational choices and opportunities that families have across our district. And so I want to thank all of the people that help to make those educational opportunities possible. A special thank you to Cynthia DeVise, soon to be Dr. DeVise, again for all of the tremendous work that she has done in helping to lead our district as it relates to diversity and inclusion. She has just done a terrific job, and I just want to say thank you to her for all of her great work. Wish her all of the best in her future endeavors. And congratulations to all of our retirees that have given such a long time in service here at Westerville Schools.
I'll go next. Excuse me, I'd say ditto, and just congratulations again to you, Vaughn, on your Kindness Award, and to all the Reflections awardees. And really good luck to Sophia and Helen. Just a few legislative updates. Just want to thank you, Dr. Kellogg, for sending out our statement on House Bill 322 and 327 and 616 to all of our district legislators and to the staff and families and putting it up on the website. Two bills that have recently been introduced are House Bill 619. It was introduced by Representatives Blackshear, from a Democrat from Dayton, and Miranda, a Democrat from Forest Park. And it basically, it's to allow school districts to permit K through 12 students to take up to 3 mental health days per school year as excused absences or as an in-school mental health program, and allows school districts to refer a student who uses the mental health day to the appropriate school health and support services, such as counseling, school health, and support social work or psychological services. The other one is House Bill 639, and it was introduced by Representatives Young, a Republican from Washington Township, and White, a Republican from Kennington, to require students who enter the 9th grade or after July 1st, 2023, to have self-defense included in their 1/2 unit of health instruction, and beginning with the 2023 through 2024 school year, require teachers who provide health instruction to complete a course in self-defense training that is determined by the school district. That's all. No movement on House Bill 322, 327, or 616, thankfully.
Yeah, I think most things have been caught. Ditto, and just on reflections, I just love seeing their projects. I know we've, you know, and the kids are so, oh, they're so creative. So if you ever have a chance to, you know, see any of their reflections work this year or in future years, please take it. These kids are just amazing in their creativity and their passion for what they do. And it's just a really special program. So I just want to thank everybody who helps to put it on at the district level and at the school levels. It's just a really great program. So thank you.
Actually pulling up our policy on student attendance, because it's my understanding that our students already can take time if they need. I wanted to see what we were saying about it in our policies, so I wasn't actually looking at Facebook or anything. I was pulling up policies just to check and see. So, you know, I appreciate the legislative update because it gives me a chance to also, in addition to all the things we always say about it, gives me a chance to realize that there's often little understanding of what we already have the capacity to do, and how, you know me, we always have to protect our capacities and what we are permitted to do. But at any rate, we already have that ability, so if anyone is concerned about that or thinks that they don't have that ability in our schools, they do. I was thinking as we listened to the Global Scholars presentation about I've always thought of it as kind of a funnel, if you will, of our education program as we begin, you know, in pre-K and kindergarten and really start to build those skills. We begin to broaden the funnel with the activities, the abilities to participate in a wide range of programs. As we get to high school, the ability to really target in on some of those pathways so that people who come to us, you know, we often think of it as bits and pieces, but it's not. It's a really well-aligned funnel that grows upward and outward as our children and young people develop. And a presentation like tonight just underscores that deliberate approach to providing opportunities for young people. And as we listen to the two students who talked about their projects, yes, the passion was just delightful. And that's what we want to see from all of our kids as they go through that funnel, as they connect with and engage with learning, with people, with the realities of life. And it's just very exciting because of the program, but also because of the evidence of the funnel. And that's all I have to say this evening.
Looks like everyone's covered it, so I echo everyone's comments, and I will move on. 14.1, the board will meet in regular session on Monday, May 23rd, 2022 at 6 p.m. and Monday, June 13, 2022 at 6 p.m. here at the Early Learning Center. And 15.1, executive session for negotiations. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Altman?
Yes.
Dr. Nestbaker?
Yes.
Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Mrs. Meyer?
Yes.
Mrs. Davidson?
Yes. So we will move into executive session and then come back here to adjourn. We are back from executive session, and I would like to ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Ms. Marshall?
Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Dr. Nestor Baker?
Yes.
Mrs. Meyer?
Yes.
Mrs. Altman?
Yes.
Mrs. Davidson?
Yes. And we're adjourned.